Well, back to the city now, and more than 200 floats are taking part in tonight's Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras. One of them will be a group of drag queens celebrating Oxford Street legend Polly Petrie, who hosted the longest-running drag show in the Southern Hemisphere.
Our reporter Ruby Cornish takes a look back at her legacy and the path she helped pave for today's queer performers.
Anyone who's spent a decent amount of time in Sydney's drag circles knows the name Polly Petrie. For nearly 30 years, she hosted the drag show Polly's Follies.
It was a launching pad for people who wanted to have fun or people who wanted to get into the drag industry.
Its first home was the Albury Hotel, a famous drag venue in the heart of Sydney's queer scene on Oxford Street. Before adopting the drag queen persona, Craig Petrie was working there as a glassy when his boss suggested he give the stage a go.
He said to me, will you get dressed up in drag and I'll get dressed up in drag and we'll do a 5 o'clock tea dance for everybody, give them their kicks and give them a laugh and, have a lot of fun. I went, yes, that'd be mad, 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon.
A lot of the people performed at Polly's Follies as their debut in drag. So the legacy is really probably about 200 drag queens.
Despite the venue's popularity and a thriving local LGBT community, drag performers were often targets for homophobic attacks.
It wasn't particularly safe to be out in the streets, and there was a lot more stigma for doing things like drag at that stage. So when you look at people like Polly, it was like an incredibly brave thing to actually do at that stage.
Over the decades, Polly Petrie kept up the shows against a backdrop of political upheaval and gradually shifting attitudes.
I was doing a circus show at Capricio's, and at interval, because we didn't have a toilet backstage, I was having to piss out the window. And I went to the kids backstage and said, look, get out here, have a look at these idiots marching down the street on a Saturday night. No, with the 78ers.
When the COVID lockdowns arrived in 2020, Polly's Follies shut up shop. That's when Polly's friend and fellow drag performer Dawn Service decided to apply for a Mardi Gras float in her honour.
And I've always thought, someone should be having Polly go up the street. And Polly had been sick with diagnosis of melanoma, and I thought, God, this could be the time to actually do it. But she seems to be recovering quite well at the moment.
I'm very appreciative, very kind of Dawn to organise the float.
This weekend, 6 drag queens, including Polly herself, will form part of the 2024 Mardi Gras parade to honour Polly's legacy as a drag legend and treasured mentor. Ruby Cornish, ABC News.